Have Chelsea broken the transfer market? A question to be answered, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Football Yannick. I welcome you, old subscribers and hopefully new subscribers, as I'm uploading on this channel again. As you can probably tell from the previous two videos, multiple formats in terms of how I'm recording, but content that I just always would like to put out, and talking about any and all any and all clubs in football and things. Basically, I've already spoken about how good are Arsenal, the Mason Greenwood situation. I will share my thoughts on everything, so if you think you like that, please do consider subscribing and hitting the bell and liking and commenting, all that good stuff that us football YouTubers like. Chelsea, of course, the talk of the town. I speak about Chelsea on my main channel, Football Therapy, but wanted to do it on here in a little bit more of a sort of I don't know, different context. Have Chelsea been damaging the transfer market with their huge spend? Of course, the big talking points would be with the midfield pivot of Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, but just spending a lot of money. Now, asking that question of, are Chelsea juicing the transfer market, inflating it? If it was 2003-04, you'd be like, yes. Because back then, before there was any financial fair play, Roman Abramovich was Chelsea's owner and was spending a lot of money. Of course, later on, financial fair play came in, and Abramovich was actually one of the people to say, yes, please, bring this in. But at that point, I think the City Group had purchased, or Abu Dhabi had purchased Manchester City, and he probably caught the scent of the unlimited money, and he was probably like, okay, now you can implement financial fair play. So, of course, that's the big talking point, financial fair play. Chelsea have found a way to navigate that, make sure they're not breaking any rules. Of course, the owners, Todd Boehly Clearlake, purchased Chelsea very much with their eyes open, talking about financial fair play, and were very mindful of breaking the rules. They self-reported irregularities from the Roman Abramovich era in their accounts. They really sort of wanted to be teacher's pet in that sense. Probably saw, again, to cite or to mention Manchester City, they've probably seen the charges, the UEFA investigation with them, and said, we don't really fancy any of that. So fine, they're not breaking any rules, but are they damaging the market? Well, you have to say yes, to a degree. I mean, they will be very mindful that they want to spend less money than the previous regime, and they've already gone about doing that quite well, reducing the wage bill dramatically. They sort of believe that there was a sort of Chelsea tax, and players were just getting loads of money regardless, and there was no incentives whether they're playing in Europe or not, and that all had to change, and they've seemingly changed that. Really, it's only Raheem Sterling left on big wages. So that's good, and that's impressive, and it kind of like explains how they don't want to just spend money. They want to save money ultimately. But they believe right now that spending a lot of money on a few players is a necessary evil to get their team going and integrated back up the Premier League table. They see it as a sort of necessary evil, a sort of casualty of war, a breaking an egg to make an omelette. But is this damaging the transfer market? Well, if they keep buying Brighton's players at Brighton's values, then kind of yes, you'd have to say. First off, Marc Cucurella, £62 million. It's just too much for Marc Cucurella. Now, that isn't really the travesty here, because you could see other players that go for a lot of money in the Prem that you perhaps don't feel is worth it. You could think about Arsenal signing Nicola Pepe for 72 million. Manchester United have made a few of those over the years, 70 plus millions. Anthony, who from Ajax can raise up to 100 million euros, which is incredible. So Chelsea are paying the numbers. They gazumped Arsenal for Mykhailo Mudryk for 62 million initially, but it can go up to 88 million pounds. I think the 88 million pounds add-ons are relevant to winning in Champions League and Premier League. So, whenever those add-ons are included, you generally don't feel, certainly as a fan, too upset that those have been included. But big amounts of money have been spent. First of all, Arsenal got the Declan Rice deal done for £105 million, and people gasped at that. But the truth is, for a variety of reasons, Declan Rice is probably worth more than Moises Caicedo. He's won a European trophy, he's captained a European trophy, he's a full England international and probably the second name on the team sheet, and he's got a whole wealth of Premier League experience. Caicedo is very young, and somehow he costs £10 million more than Declan Rice. I mean, of course, the irony here is if Chelsea actually paid Brighton's asking price a long time ago, they would have got him for 100 million, probably like 95 million, and they would have had him for a lot longer in pre-season. Hindsight is 2020, of course. But is Declan Rice worth 105 million pounds? You'd think these 60, 70, 80 million pound plus players are all going to be like prolific goal scorers, and there isn't any strikers about at the moment. But no, apparently CDMs, and apparently an inexperienced CDM can be the Premier League record transfer. You have to say it's inflating the market. You just have to. Enzo Fernandez, I kind of get why he was over 100 million. He was performing well in the Champions League. He just won the World Cup. He just won the best young player at the World Cup. He was playing well in Benfica, like I said, in the Champions League. And after the World Cup, there was no hangover. He immediately started performing well again. So you can understand the the optics, the marketing value of that and everything. And but for it to not stop there and that investment to go into Caicedo, I'm a Chelsea fan. I can't be like, yeah, absolutely worth it. I'm baffled. Like, if you said to me when Arsenal were really interested in Caicedo and said, look, Caicedo, but yeah, he plays for Brighton, doesn't he? Doesn't he, he's a midfielder, sometimes plays at fullback. And you said to me, Jan, Arsenal, Chelsea, and eventually Liverpool are going to be in for this guy. I'll be like, oh, well, how much do you think you should go for? It's like, well, he's pretty, hasn't been around the Prem that long, but Brighton do drive a hard bargain. I don't know, maybe like 40 million pounds, 45 million pounds. And maybe that just shows me as a boomer. But if you said to me, no, he's eventually going to go for 115 million quid, I just wouldn't believe it. Now, obviously, it's not my money. I am a Chelsea fan. I'm happy we've got a good player that we need. And I will watch the football matches with him involved, feeling good, feeling excited. But in terms of breaking the transfer market, inflating the market, it's true. It's kind of like distasteful and unsavoury. But I guess if it's not Chelsea doing it, they probably realise that someone else will be doing it. Of course, Klopp famously said, the day we spend 100 million euros on a transfer is like the day I stopped football or something. And this was in 2016 when Manchester United bought Paul Pogba for 100 million euros. A few years later, didn't take that many years later. I know it's a bit down the road, but Liverpool, were going to spend 111 million pounds, which is what was 130 million euros or something. So everyone becomes a hypocrite in the end here. Is it an inevitable landing spot? That's the question. If it's not Chelsea doing it now because they found a way to financially do it in their model, is it just going to be Manchester United? Well, probably would be Manchester United down the road. It's a tough question, and it's the gross part of football. But was there any other way? And could they have just bought, not as good players? And is that the more just and right thing to do for Chelsea Football Club? Are they just allowed to do what they want? Interesting. I put it to you, where's the transfer market going? Is Chelsea right to have juiced it up? Are they wrong? Will they just have egg on their faces with ultimately poor investment? It's a big philosophical question in the world of football where it's going, and I put it out to you guys. So yeah, let me know. Please do consider joining the subscribers and the viewers of this channel if you want to hop on board as it's back online. See you soon. See you soon. Peace.